It's 10 p.m. in Banjul, and from our studios on MDI Road, this is the news. First, the headlines. The Regional Director of Catholic Relief Services for West Africa visits the Gambia to assess how organizations work in the country. Abuko Nature Reserve revisited. Grts explores the exploits of one Baba Jinde, believed to have saved battles from acute water shortage, in a new series looking back on some of the country's historical relics and happenings. Brussels Airport partially reopens to a thin stream of passengers 12 days after suicide bomber destroyed its departure hall, killing dozens of people. And Turkey prepares to receive the first group of deported migrants from Greece, a day before a controversial EU-Turkey settlement deal goes into effect. Well, viewers, those are your headlines. With me, WINIFRED NICOL. The Abuko Nature Reserve is renowned for being a sanctuary for endangered animals and plant species, established in 1968. The reserve is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the Gambia. However, the nature reserve was once a major source of water for the colonial capital of Bathurst, now Banjul. In a new series looking back on some of the historical relics and happenings, Mamadou Jallo explores how the exploits of one Baba Jinde saved Bathurst from acute water shortage, which according to legend was caused by an angry dragon.
The Abuko Nature Reserve is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the country, situated on the frontier separating Abuko on the municipality and Lamin in the West Coast region. It was established in 1968 as a sanctuary for plants and animals. However, the history of this reserve stretches back to 1916, when the colonial authorities built a major water pumping station to supply the capital Bathurst, now Banjul and Fajara.
It was from here through Abuko, then to Joshua, Old Joshua, then cross the bridge, then to Banjul at the Albion Camp. So that was how exactly, and then the operations was being done. So these are the remains of the machines that you can, but they were being used to pump water to Banjul.
By virtue of its strategic location, Lamin had all the ingredients required for the supply of fresh water to the colonial capital, which was struggling to provide water to its residents. Therefore, after careful studies, the then colonial governor, Sir Galloway, ordered the construction of a water pumping system to tap the rich water resources available.
So it's a catchment area. Lamin is virtually slopey. So all the rainwater that used to come, from the village and its surroundings ends up here. It ends up here. So it becomes a very huge stream. Then the sediments settled down, other reptiles came in, and so on and so forth.
History has it that the water pumping system could not fulfill its purpose initially, a situation that worsened the water crisis in Bathurst. The colonialists did not reckon that the area was possessed by a dragon, which nullified any attempts to get the machinery working. It was not until one man intervened that things started working, much to the respite of the colonial authorities and their suffering subjects.
My grandfather suddenly came. We talked to one of the technicians there, or the mechanics. That, well, if you can give me the opportunity, now if you can talk to the white man to give me the opportunity, I think I can put the machine on. I mean, like looking at him, gazing at him, they said, look, who the hell you think you are? You don't know you. You said this is, you can do this. He said, well, I'm just asking you, to give me the permission to do it. If I don't do it, then that that's it. But I think I can do it. Then he went inside. I don't think you'll get to that place. He went inside the engine room. Trace all the sources where the water used to come from, the pumps and everything.
Baba Jinde is a grandson of the late Baba Jinde Sr., who through his mystical faculties was able to banish the dragon, whose migration into the unknown left a trail of destruction. The story of the dragon has been written by a French tourist who told of the death of Baba Jinde at the hands of this terrible creature, furious that he had betrayed his secrets to the white man. This version, according to his grandson, is totally untrue.
I personally would not buy that story, because I mean, like, this is a white lady who comes all the way from France, doesn't know nothing about Africa, they have to study the Gambia, and then happened to come here on vacation, and decided to write something about the Gambia. So these are some of the stories that they do capture. And actually, if you don't get to the source of the story, you cannot authenticate it. Some portion of it is authenticated, but then that portion of saying that because my grandfather betrayed the dragon and then the dragon ended up killing him, no, because this happened in 1918. In 1918, this place was opened in 1916. And my grandfather started working here in 1916. In 1918, 1919, that was when he facilitated the migration of the Linkinanga. And whilst on his flight to the sea, you know, it crushed the brick that was here first. Then my grandfather died later, after 22 years.
But whatever it is, the Abuko Nature Reserve occupies a unique place in the Gambia socio-political history. Banjul has now moved on a century later into a proud city where access to clean drinking water may be taken for granted. But 100 years back, it took one man to save the city from an angry dragon who would not allow the colonialists desecrate its sacred sanctuary. Mamadou Diallo, GRTS News.
The Regional Director of Catholic Relief Services for West Africa is in the country for a 2-day visit meant to assess the work CRS is rendering to communities in the Gambia. The top CRS official went on a field trip to Jambanjeli in the West Coast region to keep herself abreast of CRS projects on malaria. Mama J went along, and this is her report.
Barely a month after the Catholic Relief Services Vice President's visit to the Gambia, CRS Regional Director for West Africa, Jennifer Overton, arrived in the country over the weekend through the Siliti-Jiboro border from Zigansor to abreast herself with the work of the International Humanitarian Agency. Jennifer oversees CRS's relief and development programs in 8 countries, including Liberia, Guinea-Conakry, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Senegal, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. She also supports CRS outreach programs and activities in 4 other countries, such as the Gambia, Mauritania, Guinea-Bissau, and Ivory Coast. Jennifer, who has served in many African countries, is visiting the Gambia for the first time, beginning her engagement in the Kumbu South settlement of Jambanjeli in the West Coast region, where she was welcomed by exciting women singing and dancing. The Alcalo of Jambanjeli, Nuha Jame, hailed the women for sensitizing the public on malaria prevention through songs and drama sketches. According to the village head, this has changed the perception of many people on malaria complications, which are mostly blamed on spiritual and superstitious beliefs. For the HEBDO program officer Pais Foso, health survey has revealed that malaria prevalence rate in Jambanjeli has dropped significantly, attributing it to the level of awareness of the local community. The president of the Community Management Committee of Jambanjeli, Fatou Dabo, recalled their involvement in the fight against malaria years ago, maintaining environmental cleanliness and making best use of the insecticide-treated mosquito bed nets. The chairman of the Village Development Committee, Modu Toure, thanks CRS and HEBDO for educating the village women on health-related issues, particularly on malaria prevention and control. The VDC chairman equally thanked the women communicators for showing keen interest in the training, adding that sharing the knowledge gained with families and friends could help cut down the amount of money spent on buying malaria drugs and divert it to other family responsibilities. The visiting CRS Regional Director for West Africa, Jennifer Overton, is proud of the work of their partners in their joint effort to eliminate malaria in the Gambia. CRS Regional Boss, however, praised the local women for adhering to the advices given to them by their trainers.
Sleeping under a net and seeking early treatment when you have signs of malaria. And making sure that pregnant women also are getting their Fanzidar. And as the women were saying, we want to kill all of those mosquitoes and eliminate them from our environment. You should feel very proud because you are saving lives, and it's possible to eliminate malaria.
The Jambanjeli visit was punctuated with songs and drama sensitization on the mosquito-borne disease. The delegation also visited some households to ensure that families are making best use of the mosquito bed nets supplied to them by the health authorities. Mama J, GRTS.
A three-day international forum on the participation of non-governmental organizations ahead of the 58th ordinary session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights and the 32nd African Human Rights Book Fair is underway at the Paradise Suites Hotel in Kololi. The regional convergence, as Babukar Kamara explains, is seeking to engage the NGO community for more collaborative actions in the fight towards human and people's rights within the Africa region.
Altogether.
This forum is holding before the session of the African Commission. It's going to be the 58th session of the ordinary session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. And this forum brings together activists, academics, and other people interested in human rights in Africa.
It is a three-day regional convergence seeking to recommit the African NGO community in the fight against human and people's rights. The subject at hand, quite intense on many quarters, has been regarded by both activists and their stakeholders as a checklist towards human and people's rights record within the African continent. What are some of the teething issues that you intend to discuss during this forum?
One is the case of women human rights defenders, as some of them are affected by this threat of terrorism. We've had some states that have come up with legislation supposedly to fight terrorism, but we've seen some of the human rights defenders being at the receiving end of some of this. Another very important issue is that of elections. We also have cases of torture that has also been reported in some countries, and we will be looking at them. Freedom of association is also another area. Freedom of expression, the four freedoms. The freedom of association, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly are all issues that we will also be looking at.
The participants, drawn from diverse fields in the next 2 days, will be critically looking into key issues of concern regarding democracy and human rights and the growing phenomenon of terrorism within the African continent. But on the home front, praises on President Jammeh's government for banning FGM stood tall amongst other achievements.
Although the main duty bearer for the promotion and protection of human rights are state parties to the various instruments they agree to, human rights must, however, be promoted and protected by all individuals from all walks of life. It is indeed a collective responsibility, as it is the responsibility of state parties to integrate, promote, and protect women in all spheres of life so as to boost the development of women in Africa. Our government has taken numerous steps to fulfill this obligation. The most recent is the ban against female genital mutilation and the enactment prohibiting female genital mutilation.
The event serving as a prelude to the 58th ordinary session of the African Union Commission on Human and People's Rights. In the coming days, we'll also look at torture and the right to redress. The African Youth Charter, amongst other fundamental human rights abuses within the African continent. Babukar Kamara, GRTS.
Fresh and continuing students at the University of the Gambia's School of Business and Public Administration are making best use of a newly introduced course on entrepreneurship. The field of study avails students the chance to sharpen their business and entrepreneurial skills. As we hear in this report by Ibrahim Balde, the course is designed to prepare students to become job creators.
Amongst university students, the School of Business and Public Administration, as part of its course curricula, introduced SBPA Campus Entrepreneurship Initiative last semester 2015. The aim of the initiative is to give students the opportunity to put into practice the entrepreneurship skills and concepts taught in class. It also availed them the opportunity to launch their own business ideas and test if these business ideas are unique profitable and sustainable, thereby preparing them to become job creators and not job seekers. Last Wednesday, the students went out to different locations and mounted stalls to demonstrate their entrepreneurial skills. The items on sold were mainly snacks. After the field exercise, the students met a panel of judges who assessed their performances. Lang Sanyang is a lecturer at the School of Business and Public Administration.
The entrepreneurship course is one of the courses we run at the School of Business under the management program, and students from both the school and other schools in the University of the Gambia take this course. The course used to be a theoretical course like most of the university courses, but from last semester to date we have introduced the practical component of it, which we give students the opportunity to be able to apply theories they learn in class in real life situation.
Khadija Tumani is a graduate assistant.
This initiative was launched last year, and last year more of what we did was we had a Lumo Day, and the students were running business on campus. But from the results that we registered last year, we felt that we need to do it on a bigger scale. So this semester we have included a lot of activities which were not part of it last semester, and these activities are, we have started the marketing campaign. Aside the marketing campaign, we'll be having a Lumo Week. We'll also be having what we call the Creative Day, and we'll be having an award night where we're going to award the winners of the different awards, one of which is the most profitable business, the most innovative business, and the Entrepreneur of the Year of the School of Business and Public Administration. Therefore, we're calling on the support of the government, the private sector, NGOs, and individuals in order to make this initiative a success.
Awasen, a third-year student, said the exercise was a wonderful experience for her and that she is hoping to apply what she has learned in class in a real-life situation.
As a student of the entrepreneurship program, the initiative is very important because as business people, we need to be innovative, creative, because as a university, we don't only study the theory part of business, but also the practical aspect of it. So all these are wonderful experiences that I've learned from the entrepreneurship program, and I hope to implement them later on in life.
The initiative will go a long way in reducing youth employment rate in the country and ultimately towards economic growth. Ibrahim Abalde, GRTS News.
The Gambia's under-20 side have secured a comfortable 2-0 win over rivals Sierra Leone in the first leg of the double-header played in Makeni. 2 second-half goals from Boon Sane and captain Abdoulaye Bojang gave the young Scorpions a comfortable cushion ahead of the return leg, which will be played in Banjul on 23rd of April 2016. Babakar Senghor picks up the rest of that story.
2 second-half goals from Bunsane and captain Abdoulaye Jallow ensured the Gambia under-20 began live in the ongoing qualifiers for the 2017 Africa Youth Championship on a high note. The Makeni encounter comes on the back of recent setbacks for Gambian football, with the Scorpions picking up a single point from their recent double-header against a resurgent Mauritania side. Coach Omar Cisse enhanced his reputation with another fine result away from home and building on a stronger platform ahead of the return leg in Banjul in 2 weeks' time. The Gambia has enjoyed some good outings in youth football, notably a third-place finish in 2007 in Congo and 2 continental championship crowns at under-17 level in 2005 and 2009. However, these achievements were brought under the microscope 2 years ago when the Gambian side fielded an ineligible player for their preliminary qualifiers against Liberia. CAF reacted, and the Gambia spent months on the sidelines of football activities. Omar Cisse and his judges have started well and will hope to recover from that setback and qualify for the Youth Championship for the first time since the 2011 edition in South Africa. The 2-0 win caps off a remarkable turnaround for Gambian football after a depressing week of underachievement by the senior team.
For GRTS Sport, this is Babukar Senghor.
The Jalokunda family of Marakisa village in the West Coast region were left counting the cost when a recent fire incident left 12 rooms in ruins. Buba SMCC has more on that story.
This fire outbreak is said to have started around 9 a.m. at Marakisa village in the Combo Central district of West Coast region. Although there was no news of any casualty, the inferno left 12 apartments entirely burned. According to the landlord Bora Jallo, the cause of the fire is unknown since most of the occupants were out of their rooms at the time of the incident. He expressed gratitude to the neighbors and all those who supported them in extinguishing the fire, including the fire and rescue services. He is handling the post of a system analyst at the Regional Education Directorate of Region 2. Bora said he has left everything in the hands of God.
We were all thinking that this smoke was coming outside a next compound. You know, it was not powerful at that time then. We were not thinking that, imagine that it will come from our house. But believe me, after 10 minutes of that, you know, we saw the fire very well. For myself, I was completely panicked. I didn't know what to do. I cannot emphasize what I have in my room. I am system analyst at the regional office. All the data that I have for the region was contained into my that very laptop. When I went to the house, in fact, because I was completely panicked, my mind has never thought of that. In fact, I have to remove anything in the house. All right, so my laptop was there. It was burned into ashes.
Ibrahim Adrame, a close friend of the landlord, and Jarka Jallo, the landlord's younger brother, gave us their versions of the incident. They call on the general public to help either in cash or kind to help them recover from this unfortunate situation.
We must thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for, first of all, ensuring that no life is actually lost during the inferno. This is shocking, and there's no way that we can renovate all this, at the moment. But this is why we thought it is important for us to talk to people to ensuring that this family, gets back to their normal life.
Nobody can tell you the root cause of the fire. We are appealing that whoever can assist us either in cash or in kind, alhamdulillah.
The senior wife of Bora, Tunko Kamaso, said they lost everything, including money, but was quick to return gratitude to God for saving their lives. She equally commended her neighbors for their support. However, she called on the general public to come to their aid, pointing out that shelter and clothing are their immediate needs. Kadi Seka, a neighbor, said the valuables consumed by the inferno cannot be easily quantified. It is the latest fire incident being reported. Despite the efforts of the firefighters and neighbors, the inferno has rendered the victims homeless. Help is what they need now. Buba SMCC, GRTS.
That report by Buba SMCC takes us to a forced break, but we will be back with news from outside the Gambia. Stay tuned.
Hello beautiful viewers, once again this is the Observer Light coming on our this weekend's edition for the 5th of April 2016. We have the brains behind What's on Gambia, Mobaro dedicating his first EPL goal to his late mother, Gambia Swag CEOs and many more. Now join me with Sambaba on his perspective about the Observer Light.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Gambia. This is our own Gambian paper called Observer Light. Keep on following Observer Light. It's here for every Gambian. Thank you for your attention. May God bless the smiling coast of Africa, the Gambia. I love you. Much love, much respect. It's Sambaba. Thank you.
Observer Light bringing you news, commentaries and analysis of the latest happenings in the world of sports and entertainment. Observer Light shining lights on Gambian talents. This is Modulamin Jame, coordinator of the Observer Light. Thank you.
Welcome back. Brussels airport has finally reopened amid heightened security. The first plane left Brussels airport 2 weeks after a bombing incident that killed 35 people. The mood is tense in the city as police make numerous arrests. Elsewhere in the city, people have gathered to remember the victims. More in this DWTV report.
It's the first plane to leave Brussels airport since the attacks. This flight is one of only 3 scheduled for today. Before the bombings, that figure was closer to 500. Passengers using the temporary terminal face long waits. Even before they get into the terminal, travellers can now expect ID and baggage checks. But that's not enough to reassure all passengers.
Everything's all right now, but for how long? How long will this last? Nothing's going to happen now because security is being stepped up. But who's to tell us that they won't come back in a month's time, or 2 or 4 months when there isn't as much security?
The mood is tense across the city. On Saturday, riot police were out in numbers to enforce a ban on demonstrations in the predominantly Muslim district of Molenbeek. But that didn't stop hundreds of extreme right protesters gathering and clashing with locals. Police making numerous arrests. But elsewhere in the city, people are striking a more conciliatory tone. Brussels residents gathering on the Place de la Bourse today to commemorate the victims of March 22nd.
A day before the controversial EU-Turkey settlement deals take effect, Turkish authorities are preparing to receive the first deported migrants from Greece. Works are currently underway at migrant centers, where some of them have started to arrive. The question is, what are Turkey's plans to process and resettle these people? DW's Dorian Jones reports.
We don't want any more here, and it has to be said, Turkey hosting nearly 3 million refugees and migrants. Patience does appear to be running out in the country, and the feeling that there's no sign of an end to this crisis. And that's why the Prime Minister, Ahmet Davutoglu, today has been putting a lot more stress on the second part of this plan, whereby for everyone returned from Greece, then the European Union will receive one from Turkey from one of the camps. That's where Turkey is putting a lot of priority. But again, little progress on that part of the arrangement as well. Question again, we're not getting very much information about that. These reception centres, when they're built, what will they be there for? Will they just be for processing and then for the migrants and to be put back into Turkish society, or will they be kept there for processing for possible deportation? A senior Turkish official said that Turkey has recently signed an agreement with nearly a dozen countries, some are described as major source countries for migrants, for them to be returned to those countries. Now, will that be part of a plan to send them back to where they have come from? It is unclear, and this uncertainty is feeding into this general discontent within the country as well. Today we've witnessed in Dikili a protest by hundreds of residents against the idea of returning these refugees and migrants. They say we've had enough, we don't want any more here. And it has to be said, Turkey hosting nearly 3 million refugees and migrants. Patience does appear to be running out in the country, and the feeling that there's no sign of an end to this crisis. And that's why the Prime Minister, Ahmet Davutoglu, today has been putting a lot more stress on the second part of this plan, whereby for everyone returned from Greece, then the European Union will receive one from Turkey from one of the camps. That's where Turkey is putting a lot of priority. But again, little progress on that part of the arrangement as well.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of today's main stories. The Regional Director of Catholic Relief Services for West Africa is on a 2-day visit to the Gambia to assess how organizations work in the country. Abuko Nature Reserve revisited. Grts explores the exploits of one Baba Jinde, believed to have saved batters from acute water shortage, in a new series looking back on some of the country's historical relics and happenings. Brussels Airport has partially reopened to a thin stream of passengers, 12 days after suicide bombers destroy its departure hall, killing dozens of people. And Turkey is preparing to receive the first group of deported migrants from Greece, a day before a controversial EU-Turkey settlement deal takes effect. Well, viewers, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. From me, WINIFRED, NICOL, and the entire news team, thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with us and enjoy the rest of our programs.